everyone, this is Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful, bright and colorful cowl. I call it my lucky rainbow cowl. And in this video I'm going to show you how to make the cowl as well as how to make this little shamrock to add to it if you want to. Oh, and this is a free crochet pattern on my blog, and you can find that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. What you're going to need to make this scarf is about half a skein of Super Saver Red Heart stripes, or about 2.5 ounces, unless you want to make it longer. But you can use any worsted weight number 4 yarn for this project. I made mine with this color. It's called Favorite Stripe. I love this because the colors blend into each other. They're not abrupt changes. They go right in to each color, blending beautifully. We're going to be stitching today with our H hook, and our H hook is an 8 and it's a 5.00 millimeter crochet hook. You're going to need a needle for weaving in your ends and for attaching your clover, and then of course you'll need your scissors. Let's make the cowl first, and then we'll make the shamrock or clover at the end. We're going to begin with a slip knot, and then we're going to chain 17 chains. Here's our 17 chains. Now I do recommend that you chain your initial 17 chains a little bit loose because we're going to be attaching the ends of the cowl together, and you don't want the end to be puckered up. Alright, so we're going to begin stitching in the second chain from the hook. Here's our first chain and here's our second. We're going to place a half double crochet in the second chain and in each chain across. So to stitch a half double crochet, we yarn over, we go in that stitch or chain and pull up a loop. You'll have those 3 loops on your hook. You'll yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops. The cowl itself is stitched in half double crochets and chains, and so most of it is all done in half double crochets. So this is a good way to practice those half double crochets. Yarn over, go in the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through all 3. The half double crochet is one of my favorite stitches because it's kind of an in-between. I kind of say when your double crochet is too tall and your single crochet is too short, the half double crochet is just right. It makes a nice condensed stitch. Alright, so we began stitching in the second chain from the hook, and so since we chained 17, we're going to have 16 half double crochets. More yarn there. Alrighty, almost done with 1 half double crochet in each of the chains across. Alright, we're going to only chain 1, and the chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We're going to turn, and now we're going to begin our open work. We're going to be stitching 2 half double crochets, chain 2, skip 2, 2 half double crochets across. So we're going to place a half double crochet in the first half double crochet because our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Then we'll stitch another half double crochet in the second one. So we have 2 half double crochets, chain 2. We're going to skip the next 2 half double crochets and then stitch 1/2 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And then we're going to repeat this for 2 more times. Chain 2, skip 2, 1/2 double crochet in the next 2. Chain 2, skip 2, 1/2 double crochet in the next 2. And then you'll see you'll have 2 stitches left, and you're going to place a 1/2 double crochet in those last 2 stitches. 1, and here's the last one. Chain 1. And this is how it should look. 2, skip 2, chain 2, 2 1/2 double crochets, chain 2, skip 2, 2 1/2 double crochets, chain 2, skip 2, and then you'll have 4 1/2 double crochets on the end. Alright, we chained 1 and we're going to turn. We're going to place a 1/2 double crochet in the first 2 1/2 double crochets, 1 and 2. We're going to chain 2. We'll skip those 2 1/2 double crochets and stitch 2 1/2 double crochets in this chain 2 space. And then we'll repeat this 2 more times. Chain 2, skip those 2 double crochets and 2 1/2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. Chain 2, skip those 2 double crochets and 2 and 2 1/2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, and then we have those 2 1/2 double crochets, and we'll place 1 1/2 double crochet in each of those 2 and chain 1. This is how it should look after your 3rd row. You've got 2 1/2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 1/2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, repeat twice, and then 2 1/2 double crochets, 1 in each of the ones on the end. And this is the way the scarf will work. And if you're going to do this according to my pattern, you're going to need to repeat row 3 until you get to row 71. And that's going to give you a 36-inch cowl. And then at the end, we're going to do a row of solid 1/2 double crochets. Okay, but you can make it as long as you want. 2 rows like this equal an inch. So if you want to make it longer or shorter, just remember that 2 rows equal an inch. Alright, so let's repeat row 3 just to make sure we know what we're doing. We have a chain 1 that does not count as a stitch, and we're going to turn. We're going to place a 1/2 double crochet in the first 2 1/2 double crochets. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to 1/2 double crochet in the chain 2 space, and then repeat that 2 times. Chain 2, 2 1/2 double crochets in the next chain 2 space, chain 2, 2 1/2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. Whoops, had a little bit of a string there. And then we're going to stitch 1 1/2 double crochet in those last 2 1/2 double crochets. And again, you'll have your 2 1/2 double crochets at the beginning, chain 2, 2 1/2 double crochets, repeat twice, and then 1 1/2 double crochet in the last 2. And this is how it works. We'll repeat it over and over again until our scarf is the length that we want. And like I said, if you want to do your scarf the same length as mine, which is 36 inches, you'll need to repeat row 3 until you're at row 71. There we go. And chain 1. And it repeats over and over again. 2 1/2 double crochets, 1 in each of the first 2, chain 2, 2 1/2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, and then you repeat that twice, and then 1 1/2 double crochet in the last 2. and you'll repeat that over and over again until you reach row 71. So I have continued to repeat R3 or row 3 for 71 rows. And when we get to the last row, depending on what length that you wanted to make yours, you could, of course, like I said, make it longer. On the last row, there's my chain 1. And on this last row, we're going to place a half double crochet in each of the half double crochets, and then a half double crochet in each of the 2 half double crochets in the chain 2 spaces. So half double crochet in those first 4 half double crochets, there we go, one more. Then we'll place 2 half double crochets in this chain 2 space, 1 half double crochet in each of the 2 half double crochets, 2 half double crochets in the chain 2 space. There we go. 1 half double crochet in the half double crochets, 2 half double crochets in the chain 2 space. Then I need to put a half double crochet in those last 2 half double crochets, and this gives us 16 half double crochets across. And so what we'll do, we'll go ahead and make our chain 1. We'll take the end of our scarf where we started, or our cowl, and we'll line everything up. Turn it this way. There we go. Line everything up, and then we'll stitch across with single crochets. So we'll put our hook through the first stitch and the first chain here, going through both sides, and stitch a single crochet. And we'll do this all the way across, going through both ends, making sure everything's lined up. And just single crochet across. And you should have 16 single crochets. Once you've single crocheted all the way across, making sure you go through both sides, cut your yarn and tie off. And we're going to have 2 ends to weave in, because here's our beginning end and here's our end. So we're going to put that on our needle and weave that in. I'm just going through there, and then I'm going to go through some of the stitches and some of the fibers of the yarn so that it stays put and doesn't come undone. And I like to go one way then back the other, and if I have enough yarn, I'll go through again. Now I'm running short, so I'm going to put the end of my needle through, thread that on there, and just pull that through and snip that off. And now I need, looks like I cut that one a little bit short, didn't I? That's okay. We're just going to weave it through. There we go. All right, and that's the way your seam should look. Now you have to decide, two things. Make sure that you didn't twist your cowl unless you want it to be an infinity and have a twist in it. And the other thing is, now we need to decide where we're going to put our clover. So what we're going to do is make our clover, or our shamrock, whichever you want to call it, and then we'll decide where we want to add it to our cowl. To make our clover, I went forward in my skein of yarn and made sure I'm using the beginning of some of the green color, because I want my clover to be green. Alright, we're going to start with a slip knot, and we're going to chain 2. And now we're going to place 8 single crochets in that second chain from the hook. So we'll put our hook in that second chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through both. That's our single crochet, and we need to do 7 more, so we have a total of 8. And it will be a tight fit. Squeeze them in there. All right, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Squeeze in 2 more. There's 7, and here's 8. So I have 8 single crochets. I'm going to join to this first single crochet with a slip stitch, and then I'm going to chain 2. And now we're going to make the little leaf parts for our clover or shamrock. We chain 2. We're going to make 3 double crochets in the next single crochet. So we'll yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. And we'll do that 2 more times in the same single crochet. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch in that same single crochet, and then we'll go to the next single crochet and slip stitch and chain 2. And there's our first petal. All right, we're going to repeat what we just did 3 more times. So yarn over, go in the next single crochet and stitch 3 double crochets. Chain 2, slip stitch in the same single crochet, then slip stitch in the next single crochet and chain 2. There's our second petal. Three double crochets in the next single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch in the same single crochet, then slip stitch in the next. There we go. And chain 2. We need to make 1 more petal or leaf. I guess clovers are leaves, not petals, right? All right, so there's my 3 double crochets, chain 2. We're going to go right in that same and make our slip stitch. And then we're going to go right in that next stitch, slip stitch, and now we're going to chain 5. We're going to make a stem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to turn, and we're going to stitch a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. There we go. And then we'll do 1 in those next 3, 2, 3, and then we'll join right to that same stitch that we started in with a slip stitch. And then we're going to cut our yarn. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of yarn so that we can attach it to our scarf. So I'm going to say about 18 inches. We'll tie that off. But we have an issue. We have a hole in the center. So we're going to turn it over, thread that yarn onto our needle, and we're just going to close up that hole by going around those center stitches where we did our initial 8 single crochets. And just gently pull on that. And once you get around, you can always turn and go the other way just to make sure it's going to stay put. Weave that in a little bit. Mine came unthreaded. There we go. So there's our little shamrock or clover. I'm going to have to look that up. So now we need to decide where we want to attach our clover. Now here's my seam, and I want my seam to be in the back. And I also want my clover to stand out, so I don't want to put it on the green portion where you won't be able to see it. It'll just blend in. And so I'm going to put mine right over here on this purple area. I think that'll look nice. Now, if you want to pin that on there, you can. I don't. I just hold it in place. Thread my needle. And I want mine to be at a little bit of an angle, not straight up and down. And so what I'll do is I'll just stitch going around those edges, in and out. And remember, you want to stitch it securely, but you want it to have just a little bit of stretch. So don't stitch it too tightly. Because as you're wearing it, it's going to move on you. There we go. And we also don't want it puckering up. Now we do have holes in this scarf, so make sure you get into some of those stitches when you're sewing it on. So I'm just going to continue sewing around the edges of the leaf, or the petal, whatever we're calling those. I don't know what the exact name on these for shamrocks and clovers, if they're considered a flower, so they're petals, or if they're leaves. Either way, they're super cute. Now once we get around the edge of the last petal, we want to make sure that that stem's not sticking up. And what I do is I just go right down the center, make sure the end is attached down, and then I'll move right back up. And I always go in the center of the clover and down in. I don't know why I do that. I think it just makes me feel like it's going to attach and stay put better. I do a couple of stitches like that. And then I just go to the back and really weave that in the part of the green portion that shows through of the clover, as well as going through some of the stitches of the scarf or cowl. Now you can make this a scarf by not attaching the ends. I like to have a cowl because I'm always wanting to lose my scarves, and if I'm wearing a cowl and it's attached, I don't have the tendency to lose it quite so often. Alright, so there's our clover attached to our Lucky Rainbow cowl.